She been here for the good, the bad, the ugly, and pretty much ever since the team been trash. Now, ever since Caitlin has got to the team, ever since Caitlin has joined the team, the Indiana Fever has grown notoriety across the world. They is the hottest WNBA team in the country and pretty much one of the biggest teams in all of sports. With all of that being said, Kelsey Mitchell has been taking it upon herself to kind of say a little.
Okay, this is wild. It looks like Kelsey Mitchell is in some serious hot water yet again, guys, for this one here. Kelsey Mitchell thought it was a good idea to throw shade with her "we all we need" talk, and fans caught every single word. The question is, will she regret it now that Clark and Cunningham's names are totally in the mix? So what do you think? Was Kelsey just pumping up her squad, or did she completely cross the line into disrespect?
Kelsey, one of your teammates said yesterday that you started saying in the huddles, we're all we got, we all we need.
Yeah, I said we all we got, we all we need. Yeah.
How did that kind of come about? And do you remember when you started sharing that message?
Probably it might have been after somebody got hurt. I won't even lie to you. It was early on. I think it was when CC got hurt, and I felt like it was deflating. It was hard for people to kind of see us and see our energy for what we brought to the table as a team. Hats off to CC for, being a great teammate and having to go through so much with injury. But, the all we got, all we need was it's a staple to who we trying to be as a team and who we want our culture to be. We can't help the ones that's not here, which is unfortunate, but we can help who is. And be present about that and not disrespect the game because, I would like to think that CC, Ari, Sid will want to play and be in our shoes. And so I think the all we got, all we need is just, it's kind of like a respect thing, but to put it in the air that we all we got and we all we need because...
Now, little things, right? On the surface, it looks like standard locker room motivation. Teams say stuff like that all the time. But here's the thing. Context is absolutely everything. She actually admitted that this mantra started when Caitlin Clark went down with her injury. And honestly, that's exactly where the trouble begins.
Know if she's dissing Caitlin Clark, but a lot of people is insinuating that. Now, we have seen time and time again members of her family even take shots at Caitlin Clark. Now, those are facts.
Think about what that really implies. When Clark was sidelined, instead of focusing on supporting her teammate and the future of the franchise, Mitchell's rally cry was essentially "she's out, but we don't need her anyway." Maybe Kelsey didn't mean it that way, I get it, but that's how fans heard it. And once those words are out in public, you genuinely don't get to control the narrative anymore.
Kelsey, through all the ups and downs of this season, and I know you have bigger goals in mind, but the team ensured a 500 finish, back-to-back years doing that.
And get this isn't even the first time, it's the second time the Mitchell family has been caught in the crosshairs with Clark. Let's not forget, just a few months ago, her relatives were online throwing shade at Caitlin. Tweets, comments, and subtle digs were flying everywhere, and fans noticed. Now, hearing Kelsey herself repeat this mantra, linked directly to Clark's absence, people are connecting the dots, and let me tell you, it's not in her favor. The irony here is absolutely insane because without Caitlin Clark, the Fever wouldn't even be on the national radar. Mitchell's been dropping buckets for years, sure, but those games didn't trend on Twitter. Those games didn't get ESPN segments, and they definitely didn't sell out arenas. Clark's arrival changed everything. The Fever are now the hottest ticket in the WNBA, not because of their win-loss record, but purely because Caitlin is the star fans came to see. And what about Sophie Cunningham? Her name gets dragged into this drama because fans are seeing a clear pattern. Mitchell isn't just shading Clark, she's been petty toward other players who bring massive attention to the league. Sophie, for example, has her share of haters, but she's totally embraced her role as a lightning rod. She's unapologetic, physical, and a constant headline. Sound familiar? That's because Caitlin Clark is in the exact same boat. Loved by many, hated by plenty, but undeniably the center of attention. So when Mitchell's words start sounding dismissive of Clark, fans lump Sophie in too because both are players who take heat for simply being the face of a moment. Cunningham has dealt with dirty plays, endless online criticism, and constant debates about her attitude. And instead of solidarity from fellow players, sometimes she just gets shade. Now Mitchell is facing the exact same accusation of tearing down instead of building up.
Right, given everything that this team has gone through this year and the fact that you guys, I think, are one win away from securing a playoff spot, what did it take to kind of stay the course, and what does that mean to just at least get that one thing kind of checked off?
It's definitely a stepping stone in the right direction. I think considering where this organization has been and some of the great players that's come through it, We got to look at this, like I said, for a winning moment tonight. It doesn't happen a lot, and where we've been at, you guys know what it's been like the last couple of years here, and so to see the tables kind of turn, it works in our favor, and I think that we deserve it from a standpoint of we put the work in to be here, and so I like to think that you guys gonna keep sticking it with us too, because you guys deserve it. In order to capture good content and all that, you got to win, and so I think it goes together as far as both sides, but I think it's definitely important for us to kind of bask in it for a little bit, because I remember where this group was.
That's a good deal. Let's not sugarcoat it. Kelsey is a bucket getter. She's genuinely one of the most consistent scorers in the league. But here's the kicker. Buckets don't always equal leadership. Leadership means recognizing the bigger picture. And when you say we need, the moment your teammate goes down, it honestly sounds like subtraction instead of addition. And that's exactly where instant regret comes in, because the fans are absolutely not letting this slide. The Fever's entire rise has everything to do with Caitlin Clark, whether Mitchell likes it or not. The TV ratings, Caitlin. The sold-out games, Caitlin. The jerseys flying off shelves, Caitlin. Kelsey can put up 28 points, and most people won't even notice until someone posts the box score. Clark puts up 15 with a couple of highlight threes, and it's viral within minutes. That's not disrespect to Mitchell's game, it's just raw reality. But rather than embrace that and strategically use it to her advantage, Mitchell's comments look like pure resentment. Fans hear her mantra and immediately think she doesn't appreciate what Clark brings to the team. And that's a dangerous perception, because once fans believe you're jealous of your teammate, the narrative literally writes itself. And Sophie Cunningham knows all about narratives. She's been painted as the villain of the league. Anytime something physical happens, Sophie's name trends. She's been labeled dirty, cocky, and everything in between. But guess what? She doesn't back down. She knows who she is, and she plays her role. And now, because Kelsey Mitchell's comments remind fans of that same dismissive energy, her name is being pulled into this exact conversation. The sad part, the Fever actually need both Clark and Mitchell to coexist if they ever want to win. This isn't about who scores more or who gets more shine, it's about balance. Mitchell's scoring and Clark's playmaking could be a perfect duo, but every single time one throws shade, directly or indirectly, that chemistry gets exponentially harder to build. And let's be real, Sophie Cunningham would laugh her way through this entire mess. She's been through it already. She's seen what happens when teammates throw shade or when fans twist every single word into a headline. Sophie thrives on that chaos. But Mitchell, she looks visibly uncomfortable when the spotlight is negative. And now, thanks to this we need mantra, she's completely stuck in it. Here's the kicker. The Fever didn't exactly light up the scoreboard without Clark. They scraped together wins. But when your rally cry is we don't need her, you better back it up with absolute dominance. Instead, they were inconsistent. That makes Mitchell's words look even worse. If you're gonna say you don't need Clark, then prove it by winning big. Otherwise, you're just handing critics ammunition. It's almost funny, the same players who roll their eyes at Clark's attention don't realize how much they benefit from it. Without Clark, nobody's talking about Mitchell's comments at all. Nobody cares. But with Clark's spotlight, everything is magnified, and that's the price of fame. If you're on her team, you live in that spotlight too. Now here's where the regret part really hits. Kelsey Mitchell didn't expect fans to turn on her for a simple locker room phrase, but once context connected it to Clark's injury, the interpretation shifted completely. Suddenly, she's not a leader rallying her team, she's a veteran dismissing the player who turned the Fever into a phenomenon. That's simply not a good look. And when you pile Sophie Cunningham into the mix, it just gets messier. Because Sophie's whole career has been about dealing with disrespect and proving doubters wrong. Now fans are saying, see, Mitchell's doing the same thing to Clark that others have done to Sophie. That's not the company you want to keep if your goal is to look like a leader. The truth is simple. Mitchell doesn't have to love Caitlin Clark, she doesn't even have to be best friends with her, but she has to respect what Clark means to this franchise, because without her, the Fever are just another small market team struggling to stay relevant. With her, they're a national story, and Sophie Cunningham, she's a reminder of what happens when you become the face of hate. No matter how well she plays, people talk more about her attitude than her stats. If Mitchell isn't careful, she'll get painted with the same brush. And the worst part, she won't even realize it until it's too late. The story doesn't stop at one press conference. Once the clip of Kelsey Mitchell saying "we all we got, we all we need" hit social media, fans dissected every single syllable, and once Caitlin Clark's name got linked to it, the debate exploded. Some defended Kelsey, saying she was just trying to pump up her squad. Others saw it as undeniable shade, clear proof that jealousy is alive and well inside Indiana's locker room. And here's the thing, perception matters far more than intention. Maybe Kelsey meant no harm, maybe it was just a routine line to fire up her teammate, but perception can drown intention any day of the week, especially when Caitlin Clark's name is involved. Fans don't give the benefit of the doubt when they think their star is being disrespected. That's where the regret sets in. Mitchell is smart enough to know she can't outshine Clark in the media. She can outscore her on the court occasionally, sure, but in terms of attention, it's not even close. Every single headline revolves around Clark. Every press conference, every ESPN highlight, every debate show. When Mitchell tries to plant her own narrative, it gets compared against Clark's spotlight, and she ends up looking smaller by default. And Sophie Cunningham enters this conversation for the exact same reason. She's lived through the cycle of being the league's villain. People boo her, people call her dirty, and yet she just keeps showing up. She's learned to flip disrespect into fuel. Mitchell, though, she hasn't figured out how to do that yet. Instead of using Clark's shine to lift herself, she's trying to carve out her own lane, and in the process making it look like she's tearing others down. It's not the first time we've seen this dynamic in sports. Veterans get overlooked when a flashy new star arrives. Feelings get hurt, pride gets bruised, and suddenly every comment is analyzed under a microscope. Mitchell's been the steady scorer for years, but Clark has been the cultural shift. That difference is absolutely enormous. Fans don't rally around scoring consistency the way they rally around viral highlights and game-changing energy. And Sophie Cunningham, she's a prime example of how this league chews up narratives. She plays with an edge, and for that, she's branded as the villain. Mitchell's words now risk branding her as the jealous teammate, and once a narrative sticks, good luck shaking it off. Sophie knows that better than anyone. The most ironic part is how much the Fever actually need Caitlin Clark. Without her, they don't sell out games. Without her, national media doesn't cover them. Without her, the Fever are just another rebuilding team struggling for attention. And Mitchell, who's been there through it all, should understand that better than anyone. Instead, her words suggest the opposite, suggest that the Fever don't need Clark to succeed. That's a wild take, considering the numbers prove otherwise. Let's be honest, the Fever didn't suddenly become competitive just because of Mitchell. They became competitive because Clark arrived and the franchise invested in surrounding her with pieces. Mitchell benefited from that spotlight too. More people saw her score, more people talked about her game, and she got more national respect. If she can't see that, she's missing the absolute big picture. And Sophie Cunningham knows exactly what happens when you miss the big picture. She's been disrespected plenty of times by fans, by media, even by opponents on the court, but she doesn't complain. She takes the heat and uses it. Mitchell could learn from that. Instead of dismissing Clark, she could embrace the fact that Clark makes her more visible. Instead of brushing off Cunningham as just another name, she could recognize that Sophie's experience dealing with disrespect is incredibly valuable. The longer this tension lingers, the worse it gets for Mitchell, because once fans turn on you, it's nearly impossible to win them back. They'll twist every future quote into proof of jealousy. They'll watch every game waiting for signs of bad chemistry, and they'll constantly compare your numbers to Clark's, even when you're playing well. That's simply not a battle Mitchell can win. This isn't even about stats at this point. It's about perception. Clark doesn't need to say a word, the fans will defend her. Cunningham doesn't need to say a word, the fans already know her role. Mitchell, she's stuck defending herself because her words opened a door that didn't need to be opened. And that's the kind of regret that lingers long after the soundbite fades. Let's not forget how quickly the league moves too. One moment of shade can follow you for years. Just ask Soph. Every hard foul she commits, every shove under the basket, it all ties back to her reputation as a dirty player. Fair or not, that's her label now. Mitchell's label could easily become the jealous vet who didn't appreciate Caitlin Clark, and once that label sticks, good luck rewriting it. The Fever need leadership, not division. They need Mitchell to step up as the veteran who guides Clark through the league's ups and downs. They need her to embrace the spotlight, not resent, and they need her to recognize that Sophie Cunningham's path, being hated but unbothered, isn't the one she wants to walk. Instant regret is real because once Mitchell sees how fans reacted, she has to realize the damage done. And the funny thing, she could have avoided all of it by keeping her mantra simple: just say we're together, or next woman up. But tying it to Clark's injury made it look like subtraction instead of unity. That's the mistake, and that's where the regret hits hardest. Kelsey Mitchell may have thought her "we all we need" mantra was harmless, but the fallout shows otherwise. Fans aren't letting the shade slide, especially with Clark and Cunningham's names tied in. Respect absolutely matters, and Mitchell's words completely missed the mark. Do you think she can rebuild trust with fans, or is this label going to stick? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.